Could you give me ideas around like how you make it so people don't just check the box?
Yeah, that's a very great question because sometimes it's difficult to verify, but usually the type, the KPIs are based on some sort of communication that's trackable, right? So with emails, you can see, either in an email server or, using software, how many emails were sent in a day. The same thing with calling. Generally, like let's say, for instance, if you're using HubSpot to call, there'll be a call record that is automatically created in HubSpot so you can look at the number of dials in a day. So, if you're using the correct software and if it's set up correctly, you really shouldn't have a problem tracking these things. And I'm not saying they're impossible to fake, but they're pretty hard to fake with the right technology in place.
That's good. And some of it I'm looking at it as more like they just dialed or they just, they're checking the box where they're just emailing. They're not putting their heart
Oh,
and soul into it. You know what I mean? They're just checking the box.
well, okay, yeah, I understand your question now. So here's the other thing I would do is, and this doesn't work with one person, obviously, but let's say you have five people, right? And what I would do is look at averages. So when five people dial 100 dials, how many people do they usually connect with? Let's say it's 10. Well, if I have, the average is 10 and I have one person who does 100 dials and they connect with zero people, the likelihood that that's true every single day is very low, right? So, I would talk to them, well, hey, well, why aren't you, I would dig into the details before I accuse them of anything, right? I would say, well, let's talk a little bit about that. Like, what time of day are you doing your dials? How long are you waiting? What are you saying? Or I guess not what are you saying because they're not getting in touch with them, but like, what's your process like? I would get into the details because like you said earlier, the details matter. And by asking enough questions and understanding enough about the process, I'd be able to troubleshoot it and figure out how we can improve.